Kyle, what's going on, man?
Not too much. All right, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. First and foremost, when I see you on this season, I'm like, he reminds me of somebody I can't put my finger on. And then I went, he's got the same name as somebody who's played this game.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of people were like, wait a second, has this guy played? Have I seen him? What's going on here?
Yeah, no, definitely, man. It was one of those things that the kind of running joke in the house was that Kyle Moore was the only All-Star to make it back from season 10. So everybody was, the fact of having the exact same name, we kind of have a similar look, a similar style. It's, honestly, could be brothers in another life. Who knows?
Kyle, what a wild few weeks, man. We got to go back to your HOH week. You have the floor. What the heck happened, buddy?
Oh, let me count the ways. Honestly, man, it was just one of those things that I was making decisions that I thought were best for my game and the games of the people that I trusted. But at the same time, where I really went wrong and where things kind of went out of control, where I limited my perspectives. I only listened to a few key voices that week. I didn't bring in everybody in the house and sit them down and say, where do you see the house? Like, who do you not want to see go? I didn't get those perspectives, and I just kind of acted on a few, and they turned out to be leading me in a bit of down a darker path for sure.
I mean, I'm watching going, this dude is turning on his alliance like that quick, like you're up, and oh gosh, and then you got when you put the replacement nominee up, and then you
backdoor draw.
Like, oh my God, this is going to be wild. I mean, great to watch. Don't get me wrong, great to watch. But you're in the house playing this. What's going through your mind at that time, man?
Yeah, so basically, like, the whole idea was that when I got into the house, I wanted to be aligned with as many people as possible. I think I kind of over-aligned when I first got in there, in my social life and just kind of who I am as a person. I love to get to know people, and it was pretty easy on night one when people are just like, hey, you're good in my books. And I'm like, yeah, you're good in my books too. And I've only known you for like 4 hours. But so I knew that I'd be burning bridges regardless this week. Originally, Moose came to me and told me that Steph was saying that she was going to take a shot at me if she had the chance. So I said, okay, Steph will go up. She's giving me a reason to put her up. And then I realized that Moose was kind of feeding me some lies and trying to pit some people against each other. So even though he was part of my alliance, I was like, the alliance is better without him in it. So we'll put those two up. And then when Moose won the veto, that's when really everything the profanities hit the fan. And that's when from there it kind of the Jenga block started to tumble down.
I mean, again, watching as a fan, you're like, whoa, this Stephanie blindside, you can see it on her face. That's going to be a meme, by the way, for like the rest of time.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, that was incredible, but you were so sunken after that moment. I'm watching going, how is this guy going to get out of this? Because you're thinking it's going to go one way. All of a sudden they go, Stephanie's gone. What do you mean Stephanie's gone? And you're looking around and people are walking by you like you don't exist. And I'm like, oh, this is, well, everyone's a human being. So how do you deal with something like that, man?
Well, it's tough because like that's the thing. My work within mental health advocacy, like those moments, like that was a low moment for me for sure. When you kind of realize that you got played, like you realize that how Big Brother did what Big Brother does, and it the house flipped. There was people didn't like how the HOH went, and it was I blindsided some people, and so they were going to blindside me right back. It's a tit for tat game sometimes. It was tough for sure. And I think at that moment I kind of realized that. My back was up against the wall big time. When Gina won the HOH, I was pretty happy about that, obviously, because I thought that maybe this earned me another week of safety, and I could restructure my game and rebuild some relationships. But it was one of those things where I think everything at that point was a little too far gone.
This is the thing. I mean, you guys must have had some conversations, but I'm wondering if he in his mind is like, man, the house wants you to be put up. I just have to do it because he's your ride or die, and all of a sudden he puts you up as the replacement nominee, and you're probably thinking it's a game. You got to do what you got to do. But the conversations that happen, man, I'm, like we're flies on the wall looking in.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it was one of those things where I love G. He's a great guy. Can't wait to be friends with him outside of the show. I have nothing but respect for the game move. I think that it was a fantastic, from a fan standpoint. It's 100% the right move. From a game standpoint, I agree. I think it was the best move for his game. He's already got a huge target on his back, regardless of me being in the house or not. That target stays, but if he shows loyalty to the house, then he is able to rebuild relationships with people that were bridges that were burned by me the week prior. So it was definitely the right move for him.
In the house, a guy like Marty seems like such a likable guy. Yeah. Does nobody see this guy as a threat? And what does he have to do, in your mind, to keep going forward and forward and forward in a game like this?
Marty's a big threat, and people talk about him as such. They really do. Like, it is one of those things. Everyone loves Marty from a human standpoint because he is. He's a loving father. He's a great husband. He's this awesome guy. He's a leader in his community. Really, really fantastic human being. But on a game standpoint, Marty's been bitten by the paranoia bug harder than anybody else, including myself. Like, Marty really, the Big Brother has really been hard on Marty, as it was on me too. He's made some rash decisions. He's moved around in terms of his alliances and who he wants to work with pretty frequently. I think if Marty wants to keep moving forward, he's going to have to really like set in stone who he's working with and not deviate from that, regardless of whether it's at the detriment of his game or not. Like, he just can't keep going back and forth kind of thing.
You and Moose, you feel you'll be cool after this, like in the real world as well, talking about
100%. 100%. Yeah. No, Moose and I, that was the thing. We had a conversation when I first put him up because I was like, this is hard because it feels like more than just game. Like, when you put somebody up that you know in the outside world, it had this element to it of like, it felt personal, but it truly was just game. And we both recognized that. We were both there to play a game. We were both gamers. And we shared a really nice moment the night before eviction where we just sat down and we're like, how cool is it to the fact that we got to go through this experience together, and the fact that now he plays such an important role in my life in terms of in both university and in Big Brother, these two foundational times in my life. He was a character in both of those stories. So it's pretty cool. So no, we'll be real tight after all this.
Was it wild walking in going, I know that guy?
Yeah. Well, I saw him coming down the stairs, and this guy, he's like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, yo, chill. I let him bring him in, and I was in his ear. Like, it was funny. We dapped him up and I bring him in, and I'm like, dude, chill out, man. Chill out. Like, don't pretend you don't know me. And then we had a conversation, and we decided like how we would kind of phrase it. So I'd use my minor as my major, and we went to school together, didn't know each other, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, no, it was pretty surreal to like, I was kind of joking. I was like, hey, you guys promised me 15 strangers, and this guy that I know walks in, like, come on, you're setting me up for failure here.
So listen, Kyle, I'm going to give you two names here.
Yeah.
Ron.
Yeah.
Jess.
Yes.
Both pretty strategic players.
Yep.
Who do you think will be able to wrangle more people going on? And now you're going to be watching like us from the outside watching in. Who do you think is going to be able to get more people on their team, let's say? Will it be Team Jess or Team Herman? Out of those two going forward, because, I mean, they're pretty big players.
Yep. Listen, I'm Team Jess all the way through and through. After everything that went down, I mean, Herman and I are tight. We'll be boys outside of this house. I'm gonna be cool with everybody outside of this house. Truly, like, honestly, it's one of those things. It's a pressure cooker situation, but it's not real life. I'll be cool with everybody. But like, Jess is just sharp. They're so cunning with the idea of playing the lone wolf card, but having really strong, intimate relationships with a bunch of individuals, strong individuals throughout the house. And when it comes time that they find themselves in a position of power, they'll have the votes. They'll have those relationships that have been bonded over a long period of time. And I just think that Jess, whether people might want to or not, I think that people will lean Jess's way just because Jess has a way about them.
Also, is Kevin like, I mean, is he a riot to be around? Because he seems like he would be a riot to be around.
He is so I would say in terms of like who just kind of brings like the most energy to the house, it's probably Herman, honestly. Herman like never switches it off. Like, the guy is absolutely running on 100 just constantly. Kev, the way I describe Kevin is like he's a human smoke grenade. Like, the guy just like, he absolutely, like, you think you know what's going on, and then suddenly poof, and like, Kevin's either gone, or he's really upset, or he's really happy, or he's playing a character. He's so hard to read. He is somebody who is like, I think Kevin will definitely find himself in some pretty hot water over the next couple of weeks, because I think people are going to become a little bit more wise to kind of the game that Kevin's playing. But yeah, Kev is a riot. When Kev's going, he's going. Like, he's an all in or nothing kind of guy. So no, it's pretty cool to see him work, because you're like, oh my God, like, what is he doing now? Like, is that like well, he's bathing in spaghetti? Like, it's just, there's a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say the spaghetti bath. If I'm him and I'm that kind of character, I'm going and trying to hug people after and watch him run away.
No, the spaghetti bath was one of those things. I think after he did it, he had a great time, and then afterwards he was like, he had to wash it all off with a cold shower. We were on slop and cold showers at the time, so he was none too pleased the fact that he had to scrub this tomato paste off with freezing cold water.
So, as you're leaving the house, you turn around and you tell them, hey, there's something about a number 12 and this and that. It was all, you just kind of made it up. Who do you think is going to be the first person to fall for your fake out?
Genuinely, I think it's gonna be Marty. Marty has been trying to find a secret power since the second we walked in that house, and he has been obsessed with the idea of a secret power. And the fact that like Gino and I came up with that plan the night before. I said on my way out, this is what I'm gonna do. G was like, I love it. Like, like fucking cause. Sorry, pardon my language. Was like, cause the chaos. And I was like, absolutely. And so, but I think everything was kind of said strategically. Everybody knew that I was one of Canada's favorites coming in because of the Kyle Moore mix-up. So it would make sense that they'd vote me a secret power. I talked about jury a lot because that was the big milestone that I wanted to hit. So it makes sense that if I had a secret power, the reason I cared about jury so much was because I couldn't use it till jury. Never talked about it because it would mean instant eviction. And the number 12 was a number that was like really, that was filled with mystery around the house, where like there was no door 12 amongst all those doors that were there. There was no door 12. On day 12, the red door said 1212, and there was 12 lights out above door 15. There's 12 just was this number that like mysteriously appeared a lot of places. So I figured people would fall for it, but who knows if Big Brother told them that was all nonsense or not. But at the same time, it was fun to have one final little play in the house before I walked out.
Kyle, final question. Is there anything you want to say to Canada?
Oh my God, absolutely. I mean, thank you. First and foremost, thank you. I think the biggest thing that I wanted to get from this platform was having an opportunity to talk about my mental health advocacy and help break down stigma surrounding mental health, especially amongst men. It's one of those things that just know if you're really going through it. I mean, 3 years ago, when I was 16 and when I was 20, I went through some of the darkest times of my life. And to go from 20, it's like the basement to the penthouse. When you're 20 years old and can't look yourself in the mirror, and then 23 and you're able to stand on this stage after doing all the work, after going through the processes, and stay in front of a nation that you're proud of who you are and you're happy about the person that you've become. And it just goes to show that you're it might be a really long, hard chapter of your book, but you still got a lot of book left to write. So there are resources available. I encourage people to reach out if they want to reach out to me and talk about their mental health. They're more than I love to have those conversations. But yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Kyle, thank you for hanging out, man. Big Brother Canada, 3 nights a week, season 10, crazy around week 10. So we'll be watching it just like you will be, man. So thanks for chatting with us.
I appreciate it, man. I really do.